Okay, I'm gonna do a cooking video. This one's breakfast. I know we were talking about dinners, but I'm gonna do a breakfast one. So first I'm gonna make, I'm gonna put some frozen bell peppers and onions in my skillet. Usually do have eggs just to help get more protein and just feel more satisfied. Okay, and I'm also making protein pancakes, and then I usually always have some kind of fruit with the meal. So I actually have a sourdough starter, so I am using sourdough, but you could easily just use like some kind of flour. If you want a recipe for a protein pancake, I could definitely send you something. So in this, I'm doing 1 egg. I usually would add some sweetener, but I'm just going to use a little sugar-free syrup. I make this like almost every morning lately, so. Then I'm using about 150 grams of sourdough discard. And I am making this enough for me and my girls. So if I was making this recipe for just me, I would definitely not use as much of what I'm using. Okay, and then I'm gonna use a scoop of more protein powder. This is the best tasting protein powder in my opinion. It's UMP. Almost everyone that I've recommended this to who doesn't like protein powders, usually says it's the best tasting. It's a little bit thicker, so like I like my oats thick, and I'll make like protein and yogurt, and it's okay. And then I'm gonna add a little baking soda. Oh, that helps. And baking powder. Why do I always do stuff in the dark? And then I'm gonna add about, I think the recipe was like 15 grams of flour. It's not. And then I am gonna add some fat-free milk, just a little bit. I'll probably may have to add a little water. So with the eggs, I use just egg whites only because I'm gonna use some peanut butter, and I used 1 egg in the pancake mix, so kind of already getting some fat sources other places. So and most of the meals that I make are gonna be have some kind of fruit or veggie with it also, to make sure that I am getting fruits or fiber. And I do my kids' plates like that also. They obviously, most kids don't like a lot of veggies, so I will always try to serve them a fruit so they are getting some micronutrients. And I'm going to show you how to track the protein pancakes in this video. So I zero out my scale and I scoop from here. And I'm just doing, here's my breakfast. Okay, I'm gonna show you guys how I track this meal. And just remember, when you are just starting to track or you're still like a beginner, it's okay to not do things perfectly. I'm just gonna show you how I would approach tracking this meal, because it can get a little complicated with like bulk recipes. And if I was being very meticulous, I would have weighed the amount and seeing how much mix I use and divided it evenly. But estimating and being consistent with those estimations are totally fine. If you ever hit a plateau, that's when we can see if, you know, there's anything that maybe we are doing incorrectly where we can adjust. Okay, so I'm going to go to the plus sign. I'm going to go to add a meal, and I'm going to skip photo. Actually, I'm going to, there's a way to add a recipe because I've done it before. So I'm going to go down here to recipes. I already created this recipe actually, but I'm going to show you guys how I did it because I recorded this already, and then I tracked it wrong, so I had to re-record. Okay, protein pancakes 2. Okay, so first thing I can think of is the sourdough discard. So I would start off by like searching here. So there's nothing here. So what you could do is you could Google how how many calories are in a gram of sourdough discard, something like that. You could find a similar amount to what you used and do that. What I actually did, this is going to seem very complicated, is I actually went here and did sourdough discard calories. And you could apply this to many other things. So I think per gram. Okay. So this popped up that there are 1.7 to 2 calories per gram, or I looked down, I found somewhere, 250 grams contains approximately 375 calories, 12.5 grams of protein, and 1.2 grams of fat, and 75 grams of carbs. So I only used 150. So how you could calculate this, and don't overcomplicate what I'm showing you. I'm just giving you an example. But so 375, what I would do, 250 grams equals about 375 calories. So 375 calories divided by 250, that's 1.5 calories per gram of sourdough discard. So I used 150, so that would be about 225 calories. Oops. So what you could do is add custom. Already did this earlier. Discard. And then that way you could always you can have this saved. So what did I say? 225 calories. Protein, there was 12.5 divided by 250 times 150. So about 7.5 grams of protein. So I'm just going to put 7. Close enough. And then 75 divided by 250, that's the carbs, times 150, 45. I've been doing this a long time, and I'm just going to put 1 gram of fat because it's very minuscule, and I'm going to save that. So you see I'm kind of estimating. So I would, which that seems kind of high. What did I do wrong? No, I think that's right. I think I just calculated it wrong earlier. Okay, so I'm going to add that. Then I'm going to add 1 egg. I'm going to add fat-free milk. And I probably used about 20 grams, if I can remember right. I did this way earlier, so... and then I used some syrup, some sugar-free syrup, and I only used about 20 milliliters. And then I used flour, and I only used like 20 grams. And then I did protein powder, so UMP, best tasting protein powder that is out there, in my opinion. And I used about 30 grams. Okay, so you see that's 495 calories for the whole mix. And I'm just going to put that it makes 2 because I unevenly split it between us. So that puts me at 274 for my serving of pancakes. Okay, and then, and I put it under lunch, but that's okay. And then what else did I have? I had egg whites. I'm not going to track the peppers. I usually use about the same amount of veggies every day, and peppers and any green veggies are very minuscule in calories unless you're trying to make sure that you're getting if you're really worried about like your fiber intake, or you notice that you hit a plateau, that's when we can like get nitty gritty with some of those things. But honestly, very minuscule. I use those almost every day. So consistency over perfection. 150 grams but you do always want to track your butters, your nuts, your seeds. You want to measure those because that can be a big difference. So you see that's 144 calories for only 24 grams, which is not even a serving of peanut butter. So I'm going to track that. And then syrup. Why do I keep doing that? It's right here. I used about 30 milliliters of those, so I'm going to add that. So if you look at so 482 calories, plus my strawberries, which I do, sometimes I measure those things, most of the time I eyeball it, but I've been doing this for a very long time. And strawberries are relatively low in calories. So my total breakfast was 531 calories, 40 grams of protein, 55 carbs, and 18 fat.